When you hear the phrase honest job, your mind probably jumps to something obvious. A nurse pulling an overnight shift, a firefighter rushing into a burning building, a farmer pulling food out of the soil. Jobs that clearly matter. If they vanish tomorrow, you noticed instantly. Then there are other ones, jobs that feel invented, layers of middle management, reports no one reads, roles that exist mostly for decoration. What the anthropologist David Graeber once called bullshit jobs. But there is a third category, a gray zone, between the clearly useful and obviously fake. Jobs that should be honorable, even essential. Jobs that on paper protect society from corruption, fraud, and dirty money. That's where the compliance officer lives. The person in a bank whose role is to stop dirty money at the door. It sounds noble and necessary, but step inside and you'll see why this job, one of the most honest on paper, can sometimes feel like nothing more than decoration. So here is the great question: what actually makes a job honest? Is it a paycheck? Is it if it's useful? Is it about the satisfaction of helping people? We know a nurse's work matters, a teacher's work matters, but in the modern economy, caregiving, teaching, and nursing, these jobs are underpaid and undervalued. This is no surprise to anybody. Meanwhile, entire industries are built only on appearance. Jobs that look real but are designed to confuse you, to move problems one desk over, to make dishonesty look respectable. Here's a better test for the honest work that we are talking about. If it works, you do not need to dress it up. If it vanished tomorrow, people would feel the loss. No costume, no PR campaign, no story. Just a hole in the real world where something necessary used to be. And by the definition, there's a job that definitely should be honest. The job of that person who sits at the banks and his job is to keep dirty money out. If they stopped, you'd feel it. Trust would erode, corruption would spread, everything would merge into chaos. But what if in some corners of finance, that job gets hollowed out? What if the filter is designed to look impressive and fail quietly? To understand how that happens, we are going to follow one man through the machine. His name is Nigel Wilkins. And once you meet him, this idea of honest work that feels like a scam will get annoyingly concrete. Picture this: London, late 2000s. The headlines are screaming about a global financial crisis. Markets crashing in public, but under the surface, money is doing what money always does, looking for a quiet harbor. In a discreet office near the Bank of England, a compliance officer is doing paperwork that does not really feel like paperwork. Now, he is supposed to ask simple questions. Who the client really is? Where did this money really come from? Do these transfers really make sense? And that word really is where the trouble starts. Dirty money is not showing up in a duffel bag anymore. It hides in layers. Companies that own companies, which are owned by trusts that are advised by foundations, all sitting in jurisdictions that are very good at saying, "We don't have to tell you." Each page is technically true, but when you look at the big picture, the whole pages together, they don't make sense and you can't really trace the truth through that. But there's a name cutting through that mess: beneficial ownership. It just means who is the actual human at the end of the chain. If you care about honesty, you draw a straight line from money to person. If you care about deniability, you build a labyrinth. Nigel's job on paper is to find that straight line. But here's how the system can turn an honest job into a theater. Nigel doing the actual job and starts to notice patterns that you don't really want to see. Clients with convictions treated like footnotes. And of course, shell companies that bloom like algae in warm water. Each step adds a plausible deniability, and he starts doing the impolite thing. He connects them. Late at night, when the office is quiet and the photocopier hums like a space heater, Nigel starts building a paper mountain. He's not stealing jewels, he's copying forms. He's doing the job the forms promised to do on his own time, at his own risk, because he can't shake that feeling that the honest job he was hired to do has been recast as a decoration. And that is the moment many of us might recognize, no matter the industry. And of course, at first Nigel is praised, thorough, diligent. Then he pushes into something sensitive, asks questions that slow down important clients, and the weather changes. The small warnings stack up. Then suspension, then a dismissal for gross misconduct on how he handled sensitive information. But look, I think he's right, he contested it because he thought that some watchdogs are close to the dogs that they are watching. Well, of course, others see it differently. And actually that's what happens when you are disturbing the system. So everybody goes back to their script. And here's the twist. While Nigel's work is narrowing HR meetings and legal battles, the bigger world starts to echo his instincts. Overseas, regulators take unusually strong actions against a bank he once worked for. Courts send individual bankers to prison. A sprawling global scandal explodes across the borders and revealed. When the curtain gets pulled back, when a bank is shot by a regulator, when a brand disappears into a merger, when a court actually jails people, it's tempting to think, okay, problem solved, but the incentives that allowed out the honest job are still there unless you change them. So what does change look like practically? Well, you need transparency with names, not logos. Build public searchable registers that connect accounts to actual people, not just company A owns company B. You need a straight line from money to human. It's a spreadsheet with fewer black rectangles, but it kills that deniability that complexity tends to create. And the other problem is with penalties. You need penalties that are designed to hurt, not just to behave. If the business model survives the fine, then the fine is a fee. Real consequences look like revoked licenses, career-ending bans, and criminal time for the worst actors. And of course we need protection for the whistleblowers. If the poster says, see something, say something, then the people who see something and say something should not become a cautionary tale like Nigel Wilkins. Now of course this is the how, but there's also a why, and it's bigger than banks. So honest work, whatever it is. It can be teaching, nursing, or cleaning, or maybe stopping dirty money. Now these things hold together a society that is not trending on social media. Now the thing is that if we start rewarding opacity, we are quietly taxing all of that. And there is a human cost that you can't really put on a chart. People like Nigel that are stubborn, quiet, and diligent end up isolated. They can feel like that they are the crazy ones for believing in the job description. They pay with stress, with health, and career. Of course, Nigel did not get the movie ending. He did not win the way that we are defining winning. What he got was harder. He got clarity. He showed us what it costs to insist on rules to mean what they say. He played with stress, health, and career so the rest of us can see how the game is really played. And I really think that meaning is not vanished just because rewards are not where they should be.